This astral body is a vehicle with which the man has clothed himself in order that he may learn through it and act through it. It cannot therefore fulfill its purpose unless he or she is thoroughly under control. So our passions and desires are like horses, and in order to be useful to us, they must be under the control of the mind, who is the driver, and this driver themselves must also be ready to obey the slightest order which comes from the true man and woman who sits in the chariot, directing the movement of these as their servants. For any man or woman to allow themselves to be swayed or swept away from their base by passion and emotion is to allow the horses to run away and to carry wherever they will instead of what you will.
So are you afraid or aren't you?
I will not allow you to lecture me about the merits of emotion.
Then why don't you stop me?
Step away from me, Mr.
What is it like not to feel anger, or heartbreak, or the need to stop at nothing to avenge the death of the woman who gave birth to you?
Back away from
You
me.
feel nothing! It must not even compute for you. You never loved her!
These feelings and emotions should be our servants. We have the right and the power to say that this shall not be, and that these unruly horses shall be brought under control. For a long time, we have allowed them to have their own way until we yield to them instead of dominating them has become a fixed habit. Learn to manage them is the first step in the upward path.
Spock!
There can be no questions that will have to be taken, and the sooner it is taken, the easier it will be. The irritable man or woman constantly finds themselves succumbing to small annoyances and under their influence saying and doing what afterwards bitterly regrets. Still, if they continue to make a determined effort at control, they will eventually reach a stage when you are able to check yourself.
Doctor, I am no longer fit for duty. I hereby relinquish my command based on the fact that I have been emotionally compromised. Please note the time and date in the ship's log.
And the very utterance of a hasty word, and to turn aside the current of the annoyance when it is at its strongest. The stage where you will check yourself before you utter that word is not a long step, and when that has been gained, you will be near the final victory. When that has been once done, a definite step has been gained, for the quality of irritability has been weeded out, and it has been replaced by the quality of patience, and as a permanent possession, which the man and woman will carry on with them into all future births. One of the most common of all failings is arrogance. It is so natural for us to wish good and well for ourselves and to emphasize the qualities in which we excel and to attach importance to them, and at the same time to ignore the other qualities that could benefit others' lives. This arrogance is one of the most difficult to master. When conquered in one direction, it reappears under some new guise in another. It is subtle and far-reaching, and it disguises itself with great success.
He thinks I'm some stupid thing. He does. Well, I didn't ask to get made. I didn't ask to be torn apart and put back together over and over and turned into some little monster.
Rocket, no one's calling you a monster.
He called me vermin. She called me rodent.
But I can't promise when all this is over, I'm not gonna kill every last one of you jerks.
See, that's exactly why none of you have any friends. 5 seconds after you meet somebody, you're already trying to kill them.
Yet, until it is eradicated, little progress is possible. Prejudice is also another failure that must be torn up. Most times we are intolerant to any new idea, any other belief other than that of our own, and we set firm in dogmatic lines and start to unwillingly listen to truth. A man and woman's mind must always remain open to the advent of new truth, even though that truth may overthrow many in older preconceived ideas. These set of ideas which we have adopted become his or her ideas, and for that reason they must be treated with respect. And anything which tends to conflict with them cannot be entertained, because to receive it would be to admit that he or she may have been mistaken.
I'm gonna fight you. Carly. No.
Many has within them pettiness, meanness, narrowness of mind, and the existence of which not yet suspected, but yet these qualities will manifest themselves when circumstances arise which call them into action. When you see a manifestation of some such undesirable quality within, we to some extent excuse it by saying that it is natural. But what does this even mean? That it is natural. We must rise above that which is normal and natural for the average of the race, and we must bring ourselves into a condition in which only that which is right and good and true shall be the natural course for us.
You told me I hadn't tried everything. What do you mean I haven't tried everything? What haven't I tried?
Well, he said that you were the only person with the means and knowledge to finish what he started.
He said that.
Hmm? Are you that guy? Are you? Because if you are, then you can solve the riddle of your heart.
We must eradicate the evil and replace it by good, so that it is the expression of the latter, which will instinctively show itself when we act without premeditation. If we are trying to realize the higher life, trying to make ourselves a channel through which the divine force may pour out upon our fellow men and women, then that which is natural as yet for the majority will be unworthy of our higher aspiration. Therefore, we must not excuse faults and failings in ourselves because they are natural, but we must set to work to make that natural to us, to which we desire to have within us.
I saw you out there. I don't know what came over me, but I couldn't let you die. I found something inside of myself.
And this development also is entirely within our own hands. If we desire to conquer an evil habit, it is easier and better for us to make strenuous efforts to develop within ourselves the opposite virtue. When you begin to examine yourself, you'll find that very many of those qualities that make the perfect man and woman are sadly lacking in us. The first step is self-control and the ability to control and eliminate passions of emotion, sensuality, gluttony, and desires to the dominion of the will. This lack of self-control will show itself in other ways, which sometimes is difficult to see.
I used to try to resist you, but now I can't remember why. Do you?
My husband's on a business trip. Tell him I love him. Not to come back here, ever.
I'm exhausted.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. You're all going to be fine.
When you let us sleep, we have your nightmares.
No, that's not true. I've kept you safe in here. You feel at peace.
We feel your pain.
No.
Your grief is poisoning us.
No, stop.
Please, let us go.
When some trouble, suffering, or sorrow comes to us, we often allow to be greatly worried or profoundly depressed by it.
Do you know, I don't know what this is. Not really. I know it's not of this world, but its true nature is a mystery. And yet it is part of me.
Are you afraid of it?
I wish to understand it. The more I do, the less it controls me. One day, who knows, I may even control it.
Instead of maintaining this attitude of calmness and serenity, we identify ourselves with the lower vehicle and allow ourselves to be swept away. We must learn to take a firm stand and stay strong so we may not be disturbed or affected by them. Another painfully common failure is how we take offense at something which another says or does. What others say or do to you cannot make any difference to you. If they had said something that has hurt your feelings, it is common that in 9 out of 10 times they did not even mean to be offensive. But then why should we allow ourselves to be disturbed about it? Under the law of divine justice, they will certainly suffer for their foolishness of evil intentions and spiteful or rude actions. What they say will in no way affect you. Yes, a blow which strikes your physical body is a distinct impact from outside. But an irritating word does not in any way injure you, except insofar as you may choose to take it up and injure yourself by brooding over it or allowing yourself to be wounded in your your feelings? What are the words of another that you should let your serenity be disturbed by them? They are merely a vibration in the atmosphere. If it had not happened that you heard them or heard of them, would they have affected you? If not, then it is obviously not the words that have injured you, but the fact that you heard them.
Don't go down that road. Believe me, it doesn't end well.
We don't want anyone else to get hurt. John. You gotta give me the shield, man.
So that's what this is. He almost got me.
You made a mistake.
So if you allow yourself to care about what a man or woman has said, it is you who are responsible for the disturbance created in your astral body and not them. They can never do anything that can harm us, but if we feel hurt and injured and thereby make ourselves a great deal of trouble, you have only yourself to thank for it.
You could have saved us. Why didn't you do more?
If a disturbance arises within your astral body in reference to what they have said, that is merely because you have not yet gained control over that body. You have not yet developed the calmness which enables you to look down as a soul upon all of this and go on your way and attend to your own work without taking the slightest notice of foolish or spiteful remarks made by other men and women. If you will attain this calmness and serenity, you will find that your life is infinitely happier than before. If we can keep within ourselves this highest of all reasons for self-development, that to evolve ourselves so we can be a fit and perfect channel for the divine power and strength.
I have no idea how complicated this situation is. You know what? You're right. And that's a good thing. We finally have a common struggle now. Think about that. How did it feel to be helpless? Now, if you could remember what it was like to be helpless and face a force so powerful it could erase half the planet, you would know that you're about to have the exact same impact. This isn't about easy decisions, Senator. Every time I pick this thing up, I know there are millions of people out there who are going to hate me for it. And there's nothing I can do to change it. Yet I'm still here. The only power I have is that I believe we can do better. We can't demand that people step up and we don't meet them halfway. But the question is, who's in the room with you when you're making those decisions? Is it the people you're going to impact? Or is it just more people like you? Look, you people have just as much power as an insane god or a misguided teenager. The question you have to ask yourself is, how are you going to use it?
That should be our motive in our effort. Yet the fact remains that the result of this effort will be greatly increased happiness in our work. The man and woman who cultivates calmness and serenity soon finds the joyousness of the divine life pervading the whole of their existence.